I think most of us being interviewed today relates much of our success to Brian Butz. Brian has been a mentor, a leader in the College of Engineering for many years. He has been philanthropic, but also really caring. I'd really like to read something about his background and where Brian started. He came to the College of Engineering in the late 70s. He was a visionary from the beginning. His research in AI actually goes back many years. He actually was one of the leaders in that process, both in research and education. He received the highest award that the university can give to a faculty member, a professor, for their teaching, and he's the only recipient in the College of Engineering on that sense. Brian became an emeritus professor in the late 2000s. However, he did not stop collaborating and participating in all of our activities. He took the role of educator seriously from day one. In fact, in my case, he was a very good mentor as a very junior faculty. During the pandemic, Brian and Susan gave a scholarship to the College of Engineering to help our students. He was the very first chair in electrical engineering in terms of developing and establishing that department. If you believe it, he was the first in his family to go to college, and through his hard work and his wife, Brian and Susan have given the largest gift ever given to the College of Engineering at Temple University, with almost $3 million. They have prioritized kindness and philanthropy, and their philanthropy is unparalleled. The sheer magnitude of this kind of investment spans a lifetime, and we hope that their story inspires others to give whatever they can, whether that can be their time, their money, their effort, or their expertise. My name is Kianush Ledegipur. I'm the professor of mechanical and bioengineering. I started at Temple University almost 37 years ago. In 2003, I became the Dean of the College of Engineering. Philanthropy starts with an act of kindness.
I think most people might think it's a donation, but what it is a commitment to others. Always turn back around when you're at that pinnacle and put your hand out and pull somebody else up.
In the sense of philanthropy, you want to provide the opportunity to the people or for the society, for the organization. They may have a great idea without much resource.
The vast majority of our students have a part-time job or full-time job, okay? And even a small amount of tuition support helps them tremendously, you know. So definitely Brian's scholarships that he has established many years back are helping our students, you know. Nobody can deny that.
My name is Li Bai. I'm currently the department chair in electrical and computer engineering department, and I was a student taking classic control system with Dr. Brian Butz. I know he touched on so many students' life. For me, it's really the time when I inspired by him to think about the time when he's teaching us control system, about how NASA engineer could develop control algorithm without computers. And that's really got me inspired to thinking about going to graduate school, because I never thought a lot of stuff could be done by the engineers. It's good that Dr. Brian Butz created a scholarship to help the student rethink about the software engineering, take more software engineering courses. Before that, the students don't really have that type of thinking. Brian's family and my family kind of grow together. So it's really our relationship kind of grow much more closer. Even he retired, we still keep our conversation through phone call almost every 2 weeks. Just make sure he's all right, and they still care about the department, how the student performing at Temple.
My name is Angela Ahmad. I am an employee of BGE, an Exelon company. I have been employed with the utility business for 32 years, and I graduated with an electrical engineering degree. I was on maternity leave, driven to finish my degree, stepped into his class. I felt a connection with Dr. Butz because he was familiar to me. A fond moment, and one that sticks to me today, is the moment that I didn't have that babysitter. And so I took a gamble and arrived at class with my daughter, on my arm in her car seat, knocked on the door and asked for Dr. Butz if he would mind stepping out. And I asked him, if I could bring my daughter into class. And he was so quick to say sure. And it took me aback. For me, I know Dr. Butz didn't know what the ramifications of his kindness did for me. That it impacted me 20 years later. Impacts me 20 years later. The qualities I think are the most impactful on others are to actually move from talking about something and acting. When someone believes in you, like Dr. Butz believed in me, it's game-changing.
My name is Sharos Biswas, and I am a faculty in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. I met Brian, as I said, in 1986, starting from February. And after that, we became colleagues here. We became good friends in a way. My mentor, he was my mentor. I was a junior faculty. He was several years senior to me. So his role was basically to guide me through the process here, to introduce me to the system, to introduce me to the classroom. And I followed his footsteps to essentially for my classes and everything else you can think of. Brian was actually at least 30 years ahead of his time. Back in late 80s, he introduced courses on artificial intelligence at Temple. He established the lab, Intelligent Systems Application Center at Temple, and he was teaching the courses on AI and so on. If you look at the entire country, there are not many schools that really have introduced AI at this point. We are actually at the forefront of it. And I think if we can proceed in that direction, Temple as a whole, not just College of Engineering, will be benefited. When we go to the classroom, at least from my part, I see my students as my children.
My name is Jared Levin. I'm an electrical and computer engineering major, graduating in May of 2025. I was the 2023 recipient of the Dr. Brian and Susan Butz Endowed Scholarship for students studying software and AI. So through Dr. Butz's scholarship, I kind of learned that someone actually wanted me to succeed. Someone was willing to invest their own hard-earned money into me. Currently, I am the electrical engineering lead for the Temple University Robotics Club, so I run all the engineering of pretty much any electrical components or PCB design or just anything that gets power ran through it pretty much goes through me to decide if it's acceptable or not for the robot. And then in the past for the club, I also served as the club's president and programming lead, where I was able to more so oversee not just one specific little part of the robot, but everything that goes on with the club, the engineering side of things, the dealing with sponsors. So a big thing that I've done in the Temple Robotics program in the last year has been the mentorship. So I've been looking last year and I'm looking to do it again this year. I took pretty much an upcoming freshman, took them under my wing, taught them everything that I knew because, like I said, while I can't really give them money, I am still a college student, I can teach them the skills that will one day hopefully get them in the same position I am where they can get the money for themselves or be sought out by a professor, be given a scholarship and be in a better position.
My name is Jonathan Isley and I'm a recipient of the Dr. Brian and Susan Butz Scholarship. In terms of opportunities, the scholarship really paved the way to allow me to focus full-time on my schoolwork and not think about, the worries of how am I going to pay for things. And it was, not only did it lift a weight off my shoulders, but it made focusing in class so much easier, and it really especially when it came time to look for internships and look for jobs. I was able to focus a lot more attention on that, whereas if I hadn't received the scholarship, I might not have been able to. So one of the highlights of my time as an engineering student here at Temple was actually our senior design project. I was on the NASA Eclipse ballooning project. If I could give new or current students one bit of advice, it would be that you should talk to your classmates, talk to your professors. Everyone's here to learn, but it doesn't mean you have to learn by yourself.
I'd say when overcoming a challenge is having people you can rely on that you know have your back and be able to help you out. It's probably the biggest thing that I took away from it, and something that I really hope anyone who is hearing this can also take away from me.
Be prepared for the ups and downs of even your own resolve. It will provide you the strength to get through those lows, because the highs are just around the corner.